guys were expecting a completely different guitar, wasn't you? I really do like this guitar. I don't play it very much. Well, she doesn't let me play it very much. But I did do a truss rod adjustment on it today. We are in that season, guys. Now, if you live in Florida or Nevada, I get it. You don't have the change of seasons like we do here. If you live in Michigan, I'm sure, upper states, New Hampshire, all Connecticut, New Jersey, upper state New York, you get it. That summer comes, the temperature changes, humidity changes, your neck moves. So I did have to give this one just a little bit of a turn, more so than what I'm used to. Now this guitar has heavier gauge strings on it. This has 52 to 11s on it. So that might have had something to do with it. It had quite a bit of relief in the neck. So I gave it about 2.5 turns in between the strings, where you put the truss rod tool with the Allen wrench in, and you turn it, and it hits the string. You can only, so basically, you're just turning it enough to release it, pop it out, and get it right on the next hex key. So it was about 2.5, 3 turns, and that's what it needed. Now it's back up to where it should be.
You sound kind of funny.
Huh?
You sound kind of funny.
I sound kind of funny.
Yeah.
I thought I fixed that the other week. Let me see. Now, is that any better? Okay. The one microphone might be causing the issue. Check. Yeah. Let me cut that one back. I only have one channel strip. So this microphone here is the one that I actually depend on the most. Check. Ooh, boy, that's gainy now. Let me see what let's put them both on -20. Check. Okay, how about now, guys? That sound any better? You guys tell me. There's so many buttons and stuff that I have to remember to hit. And these get moved every time I do a live stream. And there's a -20 and 0 dB. So this is -20, and I'm turning the gain controls up on the AG08. He says, better. Cool. Low volume now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me punch this one up. Okay. Is that any better? Check. I feel like I'm surrounded by microphones. It shouldn't be low volume because right there, guys, the little meter's staying in the red. As I talk, it is piercing the red. So that is technically clipping. I'm sitting here looking at the OBS screen, and the color of this guitar is so freaking cool. See, it's blue, now it's purple. like a champagne. It's blue, champagne, blue, champagne. That is so freaking cool. So looking at it right here, it looks like it's champagne. I think these are Pegasus, Seymour Duncan Pegasus pickups. Someone can look that up. This is the Chapman ML1 Pro. I think these are Pegasus. Man, they're freaking screaming. Good sounding guitar. Alright, I'm going to turn this one off. And before we get into bashing guitar companies, because I definitely have a huge chip on my shoulder tonight, and you know what happens when I get in one of those tangents. Tonight's probably going to be a tangent night, so start texting your friends. It's going to be time to Avery to kind of lose his head a little bit. I feel really strongly about what I want to talk about tonight. But before we get there, I do want to show off a guitar that's been here for a while. And I did make a post on this guitar. So this one's Brian's guitar. And this one is Linnell's guitar. And if you can't tell, Brian's guitar has a much prettier fingerboard. I mean, it's obvious. Now, Brian's guitar used to be ugly like this one.
Excuse you.
But now I've made it pretty. Ugly, pretty. A little bit Jatoba is a beautiful wood, guys. I know some people are kind of like, well, I'm not a big fan of Jatoba. Jatoba is one of those woods, it'll get dark in UV light. So if you have a Jatoba fretboard and it looks kind of reddish looking and you really don't like it, stick the guitar in direct sunlight. Jatoba is worse than cherry at UV discolorization, but it doesn't lighten. It gets very dark in UV light. So downstairs I have LED lights for our plants. So the workbench light was put on high and the other light was put on high. And over the course of a week, you get a little UV exposure due to the LEDs. That helps. But the big thing with this neck was, from the factory, it had a lot of residue from doing the inlay work. And that skim from that CA glue and that epoxy that they used from the factory, they didn't get all that off. So literally, I went in here with a scraper and I scraped between every fret. Took my time and I literally scraped the Jatoba. Then I lightly sanded it. And then, of course, we sealed it. And Jatoba is a beautiful wood when done properly. Now, this fingerboard will continue to darken. So if you give this fingerboard, you know, a little more UV light, let's say it's in your living room and your windows are open, you give it a year or 2 years, it's gonna even get darker. Will it get dark like ebony? No, it's gonna get a brown, like a red-brown darkish look to it. So it's a little bit different, but you can make it much prettier.
Steve said full spectrum LED.
Yes. Yeah, we're in the wintertime months, so you'll notice a lot of our plants have migrated in from the front porch. So some of them are down in my shop. So if you look at some of the latest videos, there's like a tree What kind of tree is that, hon? It's a
Orange.
Yeah, it's an orange tree. So it's got these little sticky things on it.
They're more like thorns.
Yeah, it's more like thorns, but that's usually an outside plant. A friend of mine at work gave it to me, and it was a little teeny thing when he gave it to me. And now 2 years later, it's getting huge. So on that little stand, it's almost up to the LED light. So by the time next summer comes around, well, by the time next winter comes around, I probably won't need to put it on the stand. We're really into plants. You got to have multiple things. I like tinkering around in the yard. You know, we've got a couple flower beds. Every year we do plant some annuals, but every year we make sure we plant perennials. So we do less and less annuals every year because what we plant comes back. So if you didn't know that about about us, we are really big into doing, plant stuff.
Niles
Ooh.
gave a super chat.
Thank you so much, Niles. And if you guys are new here, you don't have to be a subscriber to chat. I want you to come in, chat, join in with the group, especially with tonight's topic. We are going to do some trash talking tonight, and I don't feel bad. You'll notice that I don't trash talk anybody, but in this topic, yes, we're going to talk some trash. Is it really trash? I don't think it's trash. If you're saying the truth about something that is right and just, it's not trash. But I'm sure people will take it as trash. But this is Brian's gym, and you notice I do not have the truss rod cover on it yet. I wanted to make sure the guitar was gonna stay fit. It was a good 3 weeks of this guitar just setting without string pressure on it. So I wanted to make sure the guitar was going to be happy with its new settings. I've got the tremolo working flawlessly. I will say, in my initial review, remember I was saying I was chasing the tune on the guitar? Setting this guitar up and putting new strings on it and resetting the intonation because it was completely disassembled. I think it's just the springs and the nature of this particular tremolo. When I got it semi-close, I was chasing the bridge, trying to keep it parallel and get it in tune. Okay, so I would get it in tune and the bridge would be here. Then I'd loosen it and then I'd get it in tune, the bridge would be here. Or it was just constantly raising the bridge and never actually getting to tune. There is a sweet spot, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is probably one of the most finickiest, excuse me if that's a word, guitars I think I've ever tinkered with. Literally a quarter turn on the screws on the claw, okay, will make this thing to where when you tune it, the bridge will raise or it'll go down. The funny thing is, if you loosen at a quarter turn, as you tune the instrument, the bridge will continue to go up and you're chasing it. And eventually, it'll be setting up at a pretty funky angle. But as soon as you give it that quarter turn the other direction, it balances out. And no lie, it probably took me an hour to find the sweet spot in balancing the tune, getting the bridge to where it was setting parallel to the body. Now, I do not have this set up in the stock configuration. I did add a very, very small neck shim in the guitar to give the guitar just a little bit of negative rake on the neck. That allowed me to get I feel, a better setup on the bridge. I did not have to put any shims under the saddle of this guitar. It is extremely close. So the factory 400 millimeter radius on the neck works extremely well with this stock bridge. So there was no need to move saddles around and do any shimming. Is it perfect? It's not. But it is so close that I'm not going to gain anything. Okay, by the thickness of the shim, if I put saddle 1 and saddle 2 spot and then switch it and then add a shim, I might be a fraction closer. It's just not worth messing with. So I think we did a really good job on this guitar. You can hear there's no fret out issues. That's the guy playing, not the guitar. Even on the high E, it is. I don't play in those really high registers, but whoever gets the guitar, it rock and rolls. A guitar player far better than me could definitely shred on this guitar the way it's set up.
Surfer for Tone said, "Hey, that's a nice gem."
It is. This is. See, I was already saying better. Look at the difference in the fretboard. Poopy fretboard,
How
nice
weird.
fretboard. Poopy fretboard, nice fretboard. All I'm doing is digging a grave for myself, guys, because as soon as this one gets put in a box, I'm going to end up having to do that one. It plays so slinky now. I really spent the extra time and got these frets to where this guitar just it feels like my $1,600 Schecter now. it holds good tune. And believe it or not, look guys, the locking nut is not even locked. To prove it, watch. I'm going to literally take the bolt. I don't even have the locking nut locked. And it's holding tune like that. That means you have the guitar right. There's the locking. It's not even locked. This is my point. If you get the guitar right and the bridge is right, this is just a secondary. I mean, if you really go crazy nuts, more so than I just did, sure, you're going to need it. But the guitar should hold tune. It should hold tune. You shouldn't have to sit there and play with it and play with it. You shouldn't. The guitar should hold tune. So there's proof that the guitar is... And I'm really being abusive on it. I'm picking on it hard. I'm bending on it hard. But if you can play guitar without the locking nut locked, and you can do that on it, you got a good setup. You know, when you're down here. I need to practice, but. Every note. And it holds. So I'm very pleased with it. We did not put any aftermarket parts on this guitar. After talking to Brian, he said, don't put any money in the guitar. So there's no performance upgrades on this guitar, guys. Just buy the guitar. Like the very first group of videos that I did on YouTube, we took a Firefly and we made it as good as we could possibly make it in its stock form. In its stock form, this is as good as this guitar is going to get. This is it.
What pups are in it?
These are the, what are they, hon? I always forget.
I don't remember. Oh, Quantum?
Yeah, these are the Quantum pickups. I like the Quantum pickups myself. I think Ibanez has really knocked it out of the park with these Quantums. I like them. I like them better than the ones that come in the PWM 20. They're just good pickups. If this was a guitar that you're wanting to keep, I've done a couple of videos on it now. The only thing that I see people that own this guitar say is after a year or so that the knife edges on the guitar start to round off and it starts to not hold tune. I hear most people put the Godot 1996 bridge in it, and that's it. So that bridge is like $130. You put that bridge in it, and I think you'd have a great guitar. If you're wanting, just an inexpensive Vi, okay, put a Goto in it, and I would put some really nice 18-to-1 locking tuners on it. Are these tuners bad? Absolutely not. Remember when I guess that video's not out yet. I'm working on the Jet videos that were going out to Time Surfing Alien. And I originally said I didn't like the tuners. I really don't like the tuners on that guitar. When you're tuning up the strings, you can feel it. This guitar, all the way through, these tuners felt okay. They're not sticky, they didn't hop, they didn't jump. The tuning pegs aren't doing this without string pressure on it. These tuners are okay. They're not $130 tuners, but you're not going to have an issue with them. But if you were going to take this guitar to the next level, the only two things I would do is a bridge and tuning keys.
Is that a straight drop in, no routing, no new posts?
I cannot tell you that it's a straight drop in. Whenever you do something that has a harder bridge plate, you want to replace the posts. Now I can tell you the Floyd Rose thread in inserts, the posts will thread into these inserts. I did try that. So what I would do is I would get Floyd Rose 1000 posts. Do not get specials and don't get the other post. Get the FR 1000 posts and then put the Godot in it. I'm not doing that with this one. The other Ibanez here, Linnell's, if you look right there, well, that's Mike's hiding it. Look right there. That's a German-made Floyd Rose and smoked chrome. So that's what's going to go in this guitar. So this guitar is going to get the exact same makeover that Brian's got. But I'm going to put the German smoked chrome bridge in it. And I'm going to put some nice Godot smoked chrome tuning keys on it. And I'm sorry, that guitar will be as good as a regular Ibanez Jem. It will be. If you wanted to go the extra mile, you could put nicer pots in it because it does have the dime size pots. The only advantage to that is they're a little more precise because your trace is a larger diameter, so you have more carbon surface area with a larger pot. But these pots work fine. I don't have an issue with these pots. The switch seems to be okay. But electronics like that, guys, it's cheap. A good pot is $9. I mean, for a really nice pot. If you're spending more than $10 for a pot, you're pretty much just paying an upcharge. Like there's an Inve Malmsteen pot that's made. It just says, it says his initials on it, and then Seymour Duncan makes a pot. It's the exact same thing. They're just putting their initial on it. They're not putting any more carbon on the traces on those pots. Put a nice Barnes pot or a nice CTS pot in it, and it's going to be fine. You might want to do a pure tone jack if you're taking it to the next level. But even if you did all that, you're going to have, another $100 for the $130 for the bridge, $70 for tuner, so that's $200. $50 for electronics, for pots and a switch. You're still going to have under $800 in it, and the regular Jem now is at $2,000. They're expensive, so I just don't see it. I want a regular Jem. I just can't pay $2,000 for that white one now that I have. I've seen what can be done. This is a beautiful guitar now. The fingerboard, the Jatoba fingerboard really looks sharp on it. It looks so much better now. And the back of the neck on this guitar has the Avery cut. It is my custom arced neck. So from right here is the center line. I know I'm not in the center of the neck. This is the thickest point in the neck down here. Okay? And then that thick point goes on an angle, and it crosses the center line of the neck and goes to this side. And it's about 3/16 of an inch off center this way. And then it crosses the center line dead center. And then about 3/16 of an inch off center down here to the thing. Can you feel it? I think if you gave this guitar to someone that did not know that was done, they might go that there's something different, but I don't think they could tell you what it is. And the reason I do that on a neck, it gives you a little bit more control when you're down here. Now, I don't play that way. I'm a thumb cheater, but if I'm down here and I'm playing fast like this, I do put my thumb back. I don't play like that anymore. I haven't played like that since I was in my 20s. But I can feel the difference. When the neck gets thin right here on your thumb, it gives you cramps. So you want to try to keep the neck a little thicker right here. Okay? Remember, this is a wizard neck. So when I say thicker, it's like 19.5 millimeters, which is still stupid thin compared to most guitars. Now, if I lock the locking nut, I can get even crazier with it. I'm just trying to prove a point. The locking nut's not locked. I did go in here and do a little cleaning on the nut on the back side, got the burrs off of it. These are just little tricks that you can do. I'm going to start a new series of videos, and it's going to be 1-point videos. Okay, I'm going to do a video on how to clean your locking nut, how to make this locking nut work better and not change the pitch or break strings or do what I'm doing right now. And not have to lock it and still have it work properly. Locking it works even better. So I want to do these little series of videos. All this information is already on a lot of our other videos. The problem is it's buried in a hot rod video on a Firefly or a service that I did on a Charvel or a Jackson or something. Huh?
The Ubi has to go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Man, I didn't even see Ubi was in here. Ubi, something that you guys have really got to get on me about is to acknowledge people in the chat.
He said he just had to stop in and check out his future guitar.
Oh, is this going to be Ubi's new guitar?
Yeah, well, he's one of the contestants on the wheel.
Oh, okay. Well, Ubi, it is a bad guitar right now. If you do win a doobie, I can guarantee you this is going to be one of the best playing necks you've ever played.
We have a Mean Gene Callie in the chat. He said the guitar looks like it could get a speeding ticket.
Yes. Yeah. You know what's sad is this guitar is much brighter and smack you in the face in person. I have tried to white balance my cameras for this guitar. It just will not, my cameras will not capture the true color of this guitar. It is much brighter and in your face in person. It's very, I guess, muted. Is that a proper word? It's brighter and more smack you in the face in person. And when I did the other videos, it actually looked kind of red. The guitar is not red. It's like a hot pink fluorescent in person. It is quite loud and obnoxious, but I like it. Well, Linnell liked it so much she had to buy one of her own. So, yeah, and what was said, it was the first day I'd taken it out of the box and it was sitting here, and Linnell come out and she goes, oh, I have to have one of those. And we literally went to Shenandoah Music that day and had one on order. And it was so nice of Brian to allow me to keep this guitar for this long and allow me to do the work on it. It also allowed me to get another Jem, okay, and compare it. Brian just got, I think, a bad one. Now, I'm only doing two here. The one Linnell ordered did not have the fuzzy neck, did not have the inlay problems that this one had. You know, it's a much better instrument out of the box. But the neck and the inlay work in the film is present on that guitar as well.
Time Surfing Alien wants to know if it comes in fluorescent alien green.
No, but if you look, Time Surfing Alien, they used to make a really cool smack you in the face yellow. The problem is a lot of people want the yellow one down. So the yellow Jem Juniors, I don't think I'd pay $900 to $1,000 for a Jem Junior. It's all stock just because it's yellow. There's one, what was it, 2 weeks ago on Reverb, new old stock. They wanted $950 for it.
If they had a fluorescent green one, I would have got that.
Yeah, I think now all they make is the white, black, and then this color. I don't know why they did away. The yellow one had different colored pickups. That was the only one that had different colored pickups. Not all the pickups were the same color. I think one was green, one was white or pink, but it had different colored pickups on it. It was kind of cool, but they don't make that one anymore. But I'm going to give this guitar a couple more days, probably ship it out next week. This is a bad time of year to ship anything because it's cold. And I know next week it's supposed to be a little warmer. And I know Brian is further south. So if I can pick a warmer, not when it's in its 20s, maybe 40s and 50s, it'll be much easier on the guitar. And of course, when Brian gets it, I get it. It's not nitrocellulose, but Brian, please let the box set at your house for a day, day and a half. You know, you don't have to put it next to the heat. Just let it set in your house. Let the box come to temperature. Let the guitar gradually expand to its new environment. And then give it, you know, anytime you move a guitar, especially out of state like that, give it a week or two to acclimate to its new home. Being that far away, you may have to do a truss rod adjustment because it's cold up here. I don't know how warm it is where you're at, but it's definitely going to see a change. So give it 2 weeks, and don't give it more than one turn between the strings at a time until it figures out where it wants to be. But I'll give you the specs on where it is setting right now off the 12th. Okay, and this is very key because when you fret level a guitar, you're trying to get the neck straight. Well, there's no such thing as a perfectly straight piece of wood. And the gauge is setting on the wood.
Search for Time says it's 60 degrees where he's at right now.
I wish it was 60 degrees here.
Yeah. It's 47 here.
Yeah.
And rain.
We had a heat wave today. It was 47. But past 2 days we've had a heat wave.
It was like 52 today or something.
Yeah. We did a lot of outside work the past 2 days because it was literally like 20 to a high of 30 outside midday. That was the highs for like 2 straight weeks. And it was getting old. So it was nice to have a couple of days to be able to get outside and do some things. But what I'm going to do, the reason I'm bringing this up, when you do a fret job like this, I'm going to straighten the neck to the wood. Okay? That doesn't mean it's perfectly straight, okay? I'm going to level the frets with a long beam. The top of the frets are level, okay, to whatever the neck is out. Now, I can tell you that it wasn't out much because I let this neck adjust, acclimate, adjust. I did it 3 times over 3 weeks. So I knew the neck was stable before I started working on it. The reason I say this is the frets are straight, so going off the neck is only as accurate as when it was fret leveled. This one is extremely close. I might have been off maybe 0.2 millimeters, give or take, because there was a couple frets here or there, and those are sanding areas where you could see light. So it would touch here, touch here, touch here, touch here, and you might have 1 or 2 little frets that had light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a measurement off the 12th to the low E and the high E. So when you make a truss rod adjustment, that's where you want to measure, from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string. and that will always bring the neck back into this particular alignment. That doesn't mean that that's where you're going to want it. Some people like more neck relief. Some people, right now this neck is perfectly straight. I have zero relief in this neck. Some people like relief. I'm more of a relief player, but if I can get a neck to play like this one with no relief, I'm very, very happy. Very, very happy. So just keep that in mind. I'll send that information along with the guitar, but we're going to try to get it out next week. I know it's like Christmas, so it's probably going to just sit down there at the shipping place. I don't know how it's going to work, but I want to at least give it 3 or 4 more days to continue to move, because it's only had strings on it now for about 7 days, give or take. Not even that, probably 4 days. Yeah, 4 days. So it needs to set just a little bit. Yeah. But that's it. Now I want to get into my ranting. Have we been on an hour?
No, you got 15 minutes.
Ooh, so I can rant for 15 minutes. Guys, I know things right now when we look at guitar companies, we've seen some pretty big price increases in guitar companies. Before someone starts screaming tariffs and all that, it's not about that. This has been ongoing for many, many years. And I've said this probably, a couple hundred times since the channel started. When companies, let's say PRS, when PRS comes out with an American-made model, they set that price point extremely high. And there's a reason for it. They want to make money, okay? No one starts a business and works 24/7. And if you own your own business, when you're starting a business, you work 24/7. And if you're lucky enough, after working 90 hours a week and getting paid for 30, your business eventually takes off, okay? And it starts making money. And if you're self-employed, you kind of get where I'm going with this. So PRS sets this price really high, and then he goes and he sources it from Court, okay, exact same guitar, and he prices it at 1/4 to 1/3 of the American. Believe it or not, he's going to make more money on that import. He is, because by the time he pays his employees, workers' comp, his site fees there in Maryland. Maryland's an extremely expensive state. It's an extremely high tax state. You can't waive in Maryland without paying a waive tax. Oh, that'll be $5. Maryland's horrible. Maryland's probably as bad as California. It's as bad on chemical spraying. So he's been getting away with being able to spray, but the EPA and Maryland's restrictions on what he can spray and his micron filtration, just the filters in his spray booth, I'm going to guess he has a $300,000 spray booth. I'm guessing, because of Maryland's restrictions. So I get it. I get why companies do it. They got to make money. Gibson, everyone's raising their prices. Their imports are going up because they can make more money. I don't know of anyone here that's self-employed. You didn't start your business to make bare minimum.
Honey Tap's in.
Ooh, I haven't seen Honey Tap in a while. Hey, Mr. Honey Tap, it's good to see you, buddy.
And Cheryl made a good point. You need to change your
subscriber message.
Yeah,
yes.
She said aim higher.
Yes, we actually made it to our target number, guys. Actually, I'll do that during break. No one goes into business to lose money. And before people say, "Oh, they're robbing you," I hear a lot of people say that, and I know you guys have heard me say it. If I have to make that guitar, okay, I couldn't do it at that price point. I couldn't even do it at the American price point. There's years and years and years of experience, okay? And there's years and years and years of them going, this didn't work, this failed. You know, Gibson, headstock's cracking. You know, why did they not change it? Well, Gibson's a lot like Harley Davidson. If they change it to appease the new people, it's going to piss off the people that like the history and the heritage of Gibson. So they leave it. But they know, and they tried to add the volute to add a little strength. They still wrap the guitar with all these bands for the binding. They're still trying to build a traditional guitar, but they have modernized it. So now they're using an end ball mill, and they're just running across the CNC to do the top of the Les Paul. But it still has to be sanded. My point in all this is their rent, employer, fees, and all this, it costs some money. When you start your business and you have workers' comp, it's not going to be expensive until one of your employees cuts his finger off. And believe me, at the Gibson factory, I guarantee you someone has run their finger in the shaper or lost their finger on a table saw. That sticks with that company for 7 years. It just quadruples your rate. You got 300 employees, you get 2 or 3 accidents a year, well, that's 7 more years you're paying for that. The next thing is the stockholders. When you get that big, you have to have money to make a product. Well, no one buys stock. Someone here buys stock and you don't want to make any money? You want that stock price to go up, that means the company has to make money. The only way to make money is to have less money in it and sell it for more. Because now you have stockholders, and they don't care if your product is good, they just want to make money. When you consider all these things, that's capitalism. That's just how it works, okay? There's a sweet spot. When a company starts and they have small machinery, just the right amount of employees, they haven't had the accidents, they're not on the stock exchange, they might have 1 or 2 people that's invested in it, and they're comfortable. They're making X amount of product, they're flying under the radar, they're building a great product at a great price. No company stays there because no one's ever happy, okay? It's like when you go out and buy your first sports car. The next time you want a faster sports car or one that handles better. So when you're a business owner and you've reached that goal and you're like, wow, I finally built 100,000 widgets. Well, maybe I can build 200,000 widgets and I'll hire a couple employees and it gets bigger. Or maybe I want to improve my widgets. I'm going to make the widget plus. My point in all this is when you put in all that work in a company and then for someone overseas to steal your company name and slap your company name on a product and send it over here, that pisses me off. I get it. Chipsons are cheap. They're cheap. I get it. But guys, don't buy Chipson. It's a direct ripoff of a company. Somewhere down the line, someone worked their tail off to create Gibson. Now, you guys know I am not a Gibson fanboy. I hate Gibson. I think Gibson sues everybody. And I hate Gibson for that. But that doesn't mean that gives a foreign company the right to copy their guitar and stick that name, Gibson, on it and ship it over here. And I know what you're saying. Well, people that buy Chipsons know it's not a Gibson. It doesn't matter. If I'm a business owner and I'm making widgets and I built a good widget, like the widget Les Paul, I wouldn't want some Chinese company making the widget Les Paul and sending it over here.
Birdman.
It's my widget Les Paul.
Birdman said Fender does as well.
Yeah, there's the Chibson version of Fender. Just don't buy these products. If these companies are that good, and here's my point. If they build that good of an instrument, put their name on it. I always hear, oh, Chibson's great. Okay, Kathy, put Kathy's guitars on it. I keep hearing Kathy. Sorry, I can't take any more of it. Kathy, if you're listening, come up with your own freaking guitar name. I don't care if it's Joe Blow Me Guitar Company. I don't. Just stop using Gibson. Don't use it. It's not your company. It's not your name. Someone that's already died put their blood, sweat, and tears in it, sold that company, and put that nest egg in his family name. Okay? Then a holding company bought it, and whatever they did with it, that's the shareholders took it. I get it. It's business. But the original people, they worked hard, just like Leo Fender, making Fender. He worked hard to build Fender. But someday someone come along and said, we're going to give you a lot of money if you sell it to us for this price. And Leo was like, damn, I worked my butt off. It's my payday. And he took it. But he wasn't happy. So what'd Leo Fender do? He started G&L. Okay? But he kept the Leo Fender name, even though there was Fender. So what'd Fender do? Fender turned around and bought G&L. Now they have Leo Fender's name. They don't care about anything else. They got that product. But they bought it. Okay? They bought the rights. Okay? As much as Gibson does this or Fender does that, Fender went in and did it. They took the machines out that they wanted, sold off what they wanted, sold off the inventory to that other company that sells off all this private stock. They took out what they wanted, and now they still got the G&O name, and I hear someone else, they just sold the name. They took out what they wanted, that's all they wanted. Now we're going to sell off the rest, sell off the inventory, sell off what tools we don't want. They got what they wanted. You can dislike it or you can like it, but they did it right. They put up the cash. So if Kathy and all these other Gibson companies are out there, if you're that freaking good, why don't you contact Gibson and say, look, we don't want to copy your product anymore. We would like to make Epiphone and become a subcontractor. If you're that enamored with Gibson and Epiphone that you want to copy them because you're not creative enough to do your own thing, at least go to Gibson and say, hey, we've been ripping your shit off for years. We want to do it the right way now. We're going to build this product for you. I would not have an issue with it. But what they're doing is wrong.
Cole's in the group.
Cole. Oh, hey Cole. Tonight's rant night, Cole. And if I use any colorful metaphors, I apologize. But I have worked for myself most of my life. And nothing would upset me more as if someone took my business name, even if they were building a better product, it's my business name. Now, the lesser person will be like, I don't care. They're building a better product. Let them hype my name up. It's still not right. And I'm not saying Kathy's building a better product. I'm saying Kathy because that's the one that you always hear about. There's more than Kathy. There's all kinds of these long-term companies over here ripping off Gibson and shipping them over here. So you can't do anything about it because it's China. China's business regulations will not allow companies or the UK or anyone else to go in there and sue these companies. So it comes down to the import. You know, what is it? Who's the people that bring the stuff in, hon? It has to go through customs. So the UK, other companies, they have real strict customs. The United States, they just let the shit go through. So Gibson can't, as much as I hate Gibson and suing, they have a right to sue. They should be able to take everything from them. But see, China is a communist country. So who owns it? Does the government own it? That's usually what happens in countries like that. Or is Kathy just being well taken care of and the government takes a subsidy from it? However it works, it's still not right. And again, I'm not a big Gibson person. I like Gibson. I want to own a Gibson. But as far as Gibson's history on suing, They've been a horrible company. You know what they did to Dean guitars? I'm sorry. Dean was making those guitars for years. Then all of a sudden, Gibson gets a hair up their butt. Oh, you're not allowed to do this. Dean was making those guitars for 20 some years. When Fender went to court trying to do the Strat and T-bodies, the court said, well, you wasn't interested in it in the last 20 years. It's public domain now. Well, how's Gibson get away with it? Now Gibson is after DiMarzio for Double Cream. It's all a game. And I'm not saying I like it.
Tom Surfing Alien says, what about companies copying paint schemes like the Zach Wild, for instance?
Well, you've got Firefly, okay? And there's a side of me that really hates Firefly on this. But there's a difference. Firefly says Firefly. It says it right on it. I've got a George Lynch Firefly downstairs. It does not say ESP. It does not say LTD. They are not building that guitar and putting someone else's name on it. It says Firefly. Anyone looking at that guitar knows it's not an ESP. It's not an E2. It's not an LTD. It's a Firefly. So Firefly, I'm going to let off the hook. Okay? Now, I know Firefly boxes have been spotted in some Chibson factories. So one of these Chibson factories is making product for Firefly. Firefly is a farce company, guys. It's not a guitar company. It's 2 or 3 people sitting in a chair that had some money, that went overseas, okay, found a vendor to make some guitars, and maybe they make $50 a guitar. And they bring it over under Firefly. But it's not a real guitar company. It's just a front. It's a front company to send money over there, make a guitar with their name on it, and send it over here and sell it as Firefly. But at least it says Firefly on it. It doesn't say Gibson. It doesn't say Fender or whatever copy guitar, ESP, E2, Schecter, whatever they're copying. It's not a fake. It says Firefly. So I'll give Firefly a pass. But it's kind of hard when Firefly makes a Zach Wild Les Paul and it's got the little squirrely horn on it with the radical paint job. In a lot of ways, guys, that's crossing the line, even though it says Firefly. You know, being creative and having a creative mind and creating something someone wants to buy, well, if you're not creative, no one buys your product. You deserve to fail because you're not creative. I hate to say that. But companies come and go. Some companies go and they have a great product. Some companies go because it was like, no one got into it. But if you take someone else's great idea and you copy it, even though you change the name, is it right? Like I said, I'll give them a little bit of a pass because it does say Firefly. But I think they do cross the line on the Zach Wild stuff, the John 5 stuff. They're emulating another signature guitar. Okay? That's taking money away from the artist. Like it or not, the artist is probably only making 6% on the sale of that guitar. I wouldn't think they're making 10, maybe 6%, 7%. Okay? And of course the company's going to make a little more on it because it's a short production run. They got to up-tool for it. That's what makes them expensive. It's something different. Okay? If a company bought Lamborghini and next year they made 100 million of them in China, it would no longer be anything anyone would want because there's 100 million of them on the road. The reason people like Lamborghini is you don't see many of them. When you do see one, there's a Lamborghini. Remember what happened to Porsche in the early 90s? Porsche shut down 50% of their dealerships in the United States. Why did they do that? Because too many common people were being able to buy Porsches. Porsche did not want that. Porsche wanted to be a higher end brand. So they went to their lesser sales dealerships and said, we're not renewing your contract. Porsche has become too mainstream and we want to be more of an elite product. So I get it. When you buy a handmade guitar, okay, you're paying an individual time, hourly time, to hand build you a guitar. Is that guitar going to be any better than a Sir at $5,000? I don't know. Maybe it is. You're talking to someone that's never had that kind of money to pick up a $10,000 or $15,000 custom by hand made guitar for someone. I'm sure it's a great guitar. Guitars like that people buy because they want something special, something no one else has. So when Zakk Wylde comes out with his wild paint jobs on his guitar, he's trying to create something no other guitar company has. That's why he's got the funny V, the funny looking Les Paul, the funny looking headstock, the wild paint jobs. He's trying to create something unique.
Tom Surfing Alien said they put Zach's name in the description. That definitely crosses the line.
Yeah. So I guess my point in all this is, guys, let's not support these companies. There's a lot of guitars on the market right now at the Gibson price point from good quality companies. They're still imports, okay? But at least that company, whether it's Cort, Sazmac, IYV makes guitars for some big brands. They're all short production runs because it's a small plant, okay? I get it. But at least you're buying it, and those sub companies are under contract for the main company to build that product. I have no issues with it. If Gretsch can make a Les Paul, which I know they are, with two humbuckers at $219 for the basic one. It's a bolt-on neck. I would much rather give Gretsch $219 for that bolt-on Les Paul than give Firefly $229 for a tenon neck Les Paul.
Honeytop says, do you think you'll be able to buy a Chinese guitar in 2027?
It's not going to change, okay? Just like it doesn't matter whatever farce officials is in charge. The world has to still work, okay? China does a lot for a bunch of different companies, okay? We're capable of producing a lot of oil. We never did because we were sending our oil to Japan and then taking that money and buying it from Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. It's all just a flow. So people go, why don't we do everything ourselves? Well, then you build up a wall. You have to have some kind of trade. So I'm not saying everything's perfect, but you got to have trade between commerce and countries.
Searching for Tone says, I don't think the person who's going to buy the Firefly was ever going to shell out the cash for a Zach. My personal purchases are to support the most amount of people. If it wasn't for my channel, I'd buy the Sterling instead of FFMN.
Right. That's my point. Firefly is one of those, like I said, I don't really have a problem in some ways because it says Firefly. My big issue is Gibson and whatever the Chinder, I think it's Chinder or whatever it is they call them, they're fake fenders. Just don't buy them, guys. Those companies have enough experience, okay, where they can come out with their own guitar brand. They can sell them on Amazon. They can do what those guys, I think there's 3 of them that started Firefly. Start out on Amazon. Send a couple of your products to some YouTubers and be legit. Stop using someone else's name. Become a legitimate company. I'm not saying Firefly's great because I've been hit and miss on some issues that, oh, they'll give you $20 off, $30 off. They're big on that. You know, Firefly's weak point is customer service. It's a small company. It's a shell company. They front the money. Someone else builds the product. They ship it over and distribute it. You can't expect much because it's a $250 guitar. If that was a $400 guitar, they could make more money and they could hire some secretaries or people to answer the phone. So you can't have it both ways. So I kind of give them a little leeway there because they're using their name. But these other companies, no. We're going to do a Gretsch review here real soon. Gretsch is making a pretty nice guitar. Epiphone makes some, I know Epiphone prices are going up, but they still make some inexpensive Epiphones. Epiphone's baseline guitars are still the same. You know, Squier still makes some baseline guitars. Squier more so than Epiphone.
Honeytop says, how does Jet do it so much better for the same price?
Well, Jet has issues too. They all do. I don't care who it is. It's about, again, no one starts a company not to make money. And us as guitar players, a lot of us, we're guilty of it. Because we expect everything. We do. And everyone says, well, you do because you do these reviews. I don't expect it. I point out what I see on the guitar. And then it's up to the purchaser, okay, to say, yeah, I can live with what Avery found at this price point. Or, well, of course the pickups are weak. Well, of course the tuning keys are weak. I am that picky because I want you guys to know what I see. But if you buy a $300 guitar, it's not going to have awesome pickups in it. It's not going to have awesome tuning keys on it. It's going to have a cheaper zinc hardware with a cheaper chrome plating on it. My problem, more so than that, is when you buy a $2,000 guitar, okay, and it has cheap hardware on it.
Honeytop says you're right. There's also an element of luck.
Yeah, there's always a good one. You know, I hope the Ibanez PWM that I got was one of the bad ones.
Yeah, Honeytop says buying cheap guitars is like gambling.
You know, I hope Brian's Jem here was one of the bad ones. Nothing against Brian. But I hope that was one of the bad ones. Because most of the people commenting said, well, I didn't have that problem. Well, Brian's did. And he's in the chat. He'll say, yeah, the dots on the top were sticking way out of the guitar. The back of the neck felt like someone had sanded it with 80 grit sandpaper. It got through quality control. There's no excuse for that.
Okay, I'm being reminded that it's break time.
Oh.
And hot cocoa time.
Yes, it is hot cocoa time. Guys, if you guys want to continue talking about it, it's just something. There's been a couple of videos lately coming out on it. I get it. You know, everyone gets kickbacks and stuff like that. It's just, if you're going to spend your money, guys, just remember, someone worked hard creating that company. You don't have to agree with the politics of the company. You don't. You don't have to like their products. You don't. But somebody there worked very hard to get that company name up, and somebody there works here in the United States. Whether it's Schecter, all of these companies hire a couple people here in the United States. ESP has a United States-made guitar. So it's taking funds away from those people, you know, and it takes someone's dream away. Whether it's Fender, whether it's Gibson, Schecter, whatever guitar company it is. So we just need to be careful of what we buy. You know, there is no recourse for any company in the UK or France or Spain or Germany or Russia or United States or Mexico to do anything about China. They don't play the game. They don't. So we should really watch what we do. And I get a lot of stuff's made from there. Okay? And I don't have a problem buying a Chinese-made Epiphone. So I don't want anyone to think I'm just hurling mud. I just have an issue with gypsum. And if you have a problem with it, the only recourse we have is customs. If you have a problem with it, you need to reach out to your senator and say, look, we need to get a handle on all this fake Chinese stuff coming in. If it's legally coming into our market, got no problems with it. But if it's coming in under someone else's badge name, it needs to be confiscated and destroyed. Period. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. Again, I owned my own business for years, and I worked hard creating a name for my business. The last thing I'd want is some Chinese company using my name and selling a product. Even if the end user knew it wasn't from me. Because eventually, that buyer may get rid of that guitar, and it may end up somewhere where someone doesn't know that it's a fake. All right, guys, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll continue the conversation. Be a 5-minute break. Get a snack, get some victuals, hit the restroom. Okay, guys. There was, just so everyone knows, this is a pretty open and honest channel here, guys. My number one goal is to be open and honest with you guys. So, if you see someone in the chat and they have a blue wrench, the moderators have the ability to communicate outside the chat window. Okay, this should not be a shock to anyone here. Okay, a lot of times we may have someone that comes in, and you'll notice some people will get a little perturbed. You know, I get new people come in, they wanna say, hey, I'm here, and they might type in a lot of messages. That's fine. I get it. I was like that too in YouTube. I want to get noticed, so you type in a lot. You see if you can get fit in. And that's overcompensating because maybe someone didn't respond to it or whatever, okay? So the people with the blue wrenches will talk. Do you think this guy's going to be trouble or this girl's going to be trouble? Or do you think they went too far with this comment? So usually they don't restrict someone unless they take it too far or they feel they've taken it too far. And they usually won't do it unless they talk to one of the other moderators and they say, what do you think? Where do you think this guy's going with this? Okay, I'm going to watch him. I don't think that I'm saying anything that you guys wouldn't be unaware of that takes place in the chat. This is a small channel. All channels, I think, kind of do this. So there was a private message, and no, it's not any comment I had Linnell put in there, the Kathy that I was speaking of. So it has nothing to do with Scar My Guitar's channel. To my knowledge, he did come out and say that IYV was making his guitar. And at one time I had an issue because he was promoting that he had bought a CNC machine, and I don't really watch his channel, but just coming in, dropping in like maybe once a month back then, and then he come out with this guitar. At first I was under the assumption that he was building this guitar on this CNC that he bought. I don't know anything about the gentleman. I don't know if he knows how to program a CNC machine or not, or if he's just using Fusion, doing an extruded drawing, and it's spitting out a code for him. I know it takes years. It takes years, guys. I ran a CNC for years. It takes years. You know what you learn the most? When you think you got it and you go tour other plants. And you see a machine do something and you're like, wait a minute. And if that company is willing to talk to you, then you might learn. Because they may have struggled doing something on that machine and they finally figured it out, whether it's a ramp speed, whether it's a retract, it's programming as the machine goes traverses across the table. You want to know good CNC programming? Look at someone processing sheet goods. They throw a sheet, 4x8 sheet of plywood on it. It'll cut apart, and then it'll run across the table and it'll cut apart over here. Then it runs across the table and cuts apart over here, then cuts apart over here. Bad programming. Because that takes time for that machine to go to all these different spots. So if I see a machine and it does a trace line, picks up, goes to the very next part, does a trace line, goes to the next part, does a trace line, when it's first step down, I'm like, hey, this is decent programming. Then all of a sudden it goes over to the first part and it does its next step down, and then the machine traverses across the table. I immediately know no one wrote that code. It was automated by Mastercam or Fusion. Why? Because few and few people know how to read G-code and know how to program a machine now. But these programs are getting better and better and better. So it was nothing about Kathy at Scar My Guitar. That's why I had Linnell put Kathy's name in the chat. She seems to be, and I do monitor it. I can get my cell phone right now. I'm a member of that Facebook group. I pay attention. Why? I have no interest in ordering a guitar from her. But I do have an interest in who's buying them, why they're buying them, and what the price points are and what she's willing to do. And she is willing to do anything. She'll even change the serial number on the back of her guitar to match. I've seen, I want this Gibson with this serial number, and she'll do it. I'm sorry, that crosses a line. It does. It crosses a line. And that's where I say, Kathy, if you're that good at building an instrument, come up with your company name. You've already got a huge group on Facebook, and I'm sure she's linked to other things. She could very easily have her own product name. Okay? The spec of her guitar is off a little bit anyway, because a lot of people buy them and say it was off spec here, off spec there, whatever. I got no issues with it. It's going to be out of spec. So she could change her headstock a little bit, get rid of the mustache thing, put her own name on the headstock. Then I would not have a problem with Kathy whatsoever. There was another company that just hit my little squirrel brain, and I completely forgot what I was gonna say. But it comes down to that, guys. That's the only issue I have with it. I just feel really strongly about product recognition. And yeah, I don't have to agree with the company. I don't. Everyone knows I'm not a big Gibson fanboy. I'm just not. I think Gibson charges a lot of money because they owe a lot of people a lot of money. And they got to make a lot of guitars. And there's a lot of people that work in that plant, and I get it. I get workers' comp, and I get shareholders. Shareholders want to make money. Period. That's what it's about. When you invest in the stock market, you're not buying to not make money. The only way a company stock goes up is it has to get bigger and bigger and bigger and make more crap. Just like Ford, Chrysler, Chevy. They got to make more crap. They're not going to build a product that lasts because they got to build more crap. Because they got to build more crap so their stockholders make money. The only way you can stop it is you have to stop buying it. And at some point, like Stellantis, at some point people go, enough. Stellantis has destroyed Jeep. They've destroyed it. The diehard Jeep people don't buy Jeep anymore because Stellantis thought they were going to turn Jeep into a high-end Mercedes or a Range Rover. It's a Jeep. It's not a Range Rover. You can't charge $80,000 for a Rubicon, but they're trying to. $50,000 for a base four-door Jeep? That's insane. So people said no. So the CEO got fired. Now the new CEO is coming in, and he's going to try to turn the company around. But they've already lowered their standard and fit and finish down to the point people are like, yeah, the fit and finish isn't too good. They're not that reliable, and they want a lot of money. Well, they can't fix the fit and finish and reliability issue overnight. So the only thing they can do is lower the price to get people in those vehicles. Once they get people in the vehicles, then they can work out the gremlins in it. It's the exact same principle in guitars. I've said it a million times. They are going to keep upticking that price. I don't care who it is. They're going to keep upticking that price until you go, I'm not paying that for that product. It's too much because the fit and finish or the quality isn't good. And then the company's going to go, oh, they didn't buy it. We've got to do better. But as long as you buy it and you don't return it, the next run, the next model is going to be cheaper because they want to make money. And I hear people say, well, I don't really have an issue with it. You know, I get it, Americans work. If you think for 1 second, Kathy making Gibson guitars, when Gibson goes out of business and Fender goes out of business and there's no competition, do you think her guitar is going to be $350? You're smoking crack if you think that's true. Because she's going to shoot her price to the roof. Why? Because she wants to make money. There's no competition. Look at Walmart. Walmart comes into a small town, it shuts down all the mom and pop stores because of price point. They build so much, you can't compete. That's what's happened. I heard someone say Jackson Chevelle. Right. Because Samac and Cort make everything. They've got it down to a science. Cort makes over 1 million guitars a year. You're not going to compete with them. You're just not. The difference is Gibson, Fender, Schecter, Jackson, all these companies contract with Cort. Cort builds that guitar under contract for them and it's sold under their name. It's a legal contract between two businesses. Got no issues with it whatsoever. No problem. That's the difference. When Kathy and all these other fly-by-night guitar companies build a product and slap someone else's name on it, that's not a contract. That's them stealing. That's stealing. My point in this is, well, I'm buying it because it's cheaper. When you stop buying Gibson and all these other companies and they fall away, do you think the Chinese product's going to stay cheap? We're already seeing it. What do you think it's going to be in 10 more years? When there's zero, when Kiesel, which how Kiesel does it in California in that communist state, how they get away and they're able to spray and do what they do, that's the last state. Kiesel and PRS, both of them, there's something in the drinking water. Why would you build in Maryland and why would you build in California? Well, a lot of people say, well, I build in California because of all the selection of woods. Well, that used to be true. California used to be a great industrial state. Now it's not. It's a left-wing state that's high in taxes and they don't allow businesses to spray this or do that. It's hard to be a business in California. Maryland's the same way. Why do you think Peavey built their plant where they were? Peavey held to their guns and tried to stay American. I'm not saying what Peavey did to their employees was right. It was 100% wrong. But the original founding person, I forget the guy's name at Peavey, he had it right. It wasn't until his son and that other guy took in that they did that to their employees and outsourced everything overnight and shut the plant down. But what did people do? People said, ha, no. After what you just pulled, you just laid off all your employees after you told them that you were going to invest money in this plant and their future was going to be with Peavey. 6 months later, behind the table, you outsourced it all to China and you shut the plant down. They didn't even tell the employees. They showed up for work and there was a sign on the door. So when all these companies fall, do you think that Chinese Gibson plant is still going to charge you $350 for that guitar? Absolutely not. Because there's no recourse. You don't have a choice. You're going to buy their product. They're going to charge as much as they can possibly get. So keep that in mind. It's going to get more expensive. And it's not relative to inflation. It's relative to the production market in the country that you live in. Once production ceases of that product, the import price becomes the American price. If you live in North Carolina, you know what I'm talking about. Because in the 80s, North Carolina was the furniture building capital of the world. Do you know how much furniture is built in North Carolina now? Zero. I can talk this because my father was textile. He made silk with Jackson looms. I remember being little and going into the silk mill plant and watching the looms, wham, 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 sewing all day long. And there was women behind the machines, these big bobbins of yarn going through the machines. You know how much, people go, oh, it's an American textile company. You're being lied to. American Visco, Cheney Brothers was the last two textile companies in the United States that made yarn. There is zero yarn manufacturing in the United States. Now you might buy a shirt that says USA, but the fabric is not sewed or made, and there's none. The last plant closed in 2001, and it was Cheney Brothers, and it was the Pennsylvania plant. That was the last one, and it was a skeleton crew running that. It was about 97 when American Visco Corporation and Cheney Brothers shut down most of their operations in the United States. It's all import. That's the future. Whether it's 10 years from now or 20 years from now. I'm not saying I have an answer, okay? But there has to be checks and balances, guys. An even playing field. There is no even playing field because wages here in the United States are more expensive than they are there. But there is one saving grace to all this. As manufacturing goes there and the middle class comes up, they are just 40 years behind us. They are where we were in the 50s, when everything was being made here in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. We made everything. It was a boom. That's where China's at. So once all that money gets in there, then the people start laying off and they outsource to somewhere cheaper, and it's going to happen. There's always someone cheaper. It's just the nature of it. I don't want to pick on anybody. You guys know I don't talk bad about people. I don't. I think everyone has a right to their own opinion. This is just me ranting. I just have an issue with people copying other people's products. If I come out with a pedal that did something unique, Lord knows I don't know what that would be, because there's a pedal out there that does everything nowadays. But per se, I come out with something that everyone had to have because I just figured out something special. The last thing I would want is some Chinese company to take that thing apart, reverse engineer it, put my name on it, and import it in with my name on it for half the price. I can't do anything about it. So we just need to be careful. That's all I'm saying, guys. I think someone said that one channel was a little harder on Chibson than me. I forget what that channel was. I know the guy. He's got this weird thing against Fender or something. Was it Fender that he hated? What was that guy's name, hon? You read it in the chat.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I'd have to go back kind
I
of.
forget. Someone made a comment about it.
It was Birdman.
Yeah, Birdman made the comment earlier. But either way, I do watch other channels, and I don't have to agree with everybody. That's why there's 50,000 different YouTube channels. But unless someone comes right out and blatantly, in my opinion, is doing something that's just not ethical, you won't hear me say too much direct about things. I just feel what Chibson does, and it's not a company. It's all these micro companies building after hours or whatever they're doing and putting the Gibson or Fender name on it. Those are the ones I have a problem with.
It's Birdman said you're easier on Chibi than Big Jake's music.
Big Jake's music, that's what it is. He had this weird thing going on with Fender or something there at one time. And I think he was the one that said, well, it's an Indonesian Fender. Why did Fender go to Indonesia? And I almost said, what's he talking about?
You got a super
Super chat.
It says, I solemnly swear not to buy chips and love you guys.
It's like Searching for Tone said. It's up to you guys. I'm expressing my feelings. You know, I've said this a million times. I'm one person, and as a community, we talk about it. That doesn't mean that C.D. Nelson is right, or Time Surfing Alien's right, or Surfing for Tone's right, or BCG is right. It means this is their opinion. And you know, the great thing about living where we live, we're entitled to have that opinion. And we're able, as adults, okay, I don't see anyone cussing and swearing yet, because we're adults. We're having an adult conversation about it. Are we going to fix it? Absolutely not. But someone might make a comment and go, you know, I didn't think about that. You know, is that going to make it better? Might. It might change your perspective, or it might change my perspective. If you guys say something like Searching for Tone said earlier about influencing people's jobs that work here. That might change someone's perspective that didn't think about that. Or customs, like what I said. Should they do it? Should they destroy it? We're all big boys. We can have big boy conversations.
Birdman.
My big thing is, don't think for a minute that product's going to stay cheap when the name brands fail. Yeah, go ahead, Don.
Birdman wants to know if your amp guy works on solid state units. Devastator answered him and said yes, but Birdman wants to know, does he charge you the earth?
Mike is very reasonable. The issue that you're going to have, Birdman, is getting a hold of him. I do believe Mike is on the, didn't he join the Discord?
Yeah, he did.
Birdman, get on Discord, and we'll look up what he goes by, and you can send him a direct message on Discord. He's very busy, so it might take him a week or so to get back to you. But I can tell you this, if Mike opens it up, he's going to call you, and he's going to say, I can fix it doing this, but I found these things. Or he might look at some of the electrolytics and go, you know, while I'm in here, this is what it'll be to go through it. He's going to give you some options, if that makes sense. That's what's great about Mike.
Birdman said his new to him amp got sick. His Princeton 65 went on strike.
Is it a real Princeton 1965 Princeton? Because if it is, that's an amp worth mega dollars. Mike's really good at tube amps. He builds his own pedals.
It's a solid state.
It's solid state. So if you guys want, get a hold of him. He makes a kick butt little Marshall pedal, and he builds it himself. It's all hand done by him. He makes a couple different things. He doesn't make what everyone else makes. Mike makes his own little pedal. It's quality components. You know, that's what you're buying. You're buying something made in someone's basement by someone that knows amps and tech and works on stuff, okay? And he builds a solid unit. So if you're looking for stuff like that, that's kind of what he does. That's his main thing, is servicing amps, making pedals, stuff like that. He's a great guy. He rebuilt this unit here for me, and he called me. He said, look, this is what I'm finding. This is what I'm seeing. And he goes, to be honest with you, I don't really see what this thing does in the signal path. And he goes, I'll fix it. He said, but I'm looking at the before and after readings. He goes, I don't see what the thing does. And I'm like, this is what it does. And he goes, well, the O-scope and stuff is not giving me the warm, fuzzy feeling that it's making your sound warm. And I said, well, I can't give you any baseline readings. That's what he was wanting. You got to have a baseline reading. And I sent him something he'd never seen before. And I'm like, just check each individual component, check the electrolytics, see if anything is reading out of spec. If it is, let's fix it. You have it. I don't care if you got to spend an extra $80 in parts or an extra $100 in labor. You've got the thing. I sent it to you. Just make sure it's 100%, as good as you can get it, and everything's reading within its stated value.
Birdman
And that's
says
what he did.
it's a real spring tank model, not DSP.
Oh, yeah. Birdman, just reach out to him on Discord. I don't know if Linnell could look at his name on Discord. I can't remember what he went by on Discord. And send him a direct message. It's going to be far away, but as long as it doesn't weigh a lot, like I was going to send him my power amp right here, but the thing weighs like 30 freaking pounds, and it's just going to cost an arm and a leg to send it to him. So I'm trying to find someone on this side of the East Coast that's as good as Mike, that we can refer work to. So if anyone has any suggestions of a really good amp tech on the East Coast, someone that's outside the box thinking, that cares about their work and their quality and loves music, please go to Discord and post their names so we can reach out to them, because we need people like that. We need to give them work to keep those type people busy. There's so many techs now that just want to replace components. Oh, it's probably this, and they're called parts changers. I don't want someone going in there and loosening up a bunch of electrolytics that don't need to be replaced. If they don't know how to test the unit properly and give you a true diagnosis, I mean, I can get in there and look at that, kind of looks bad, I'll replace that. That didn't fix it, I'll replace. I can be a parts changer, but that doesn't make me a tech. A tech can open it up and go, these components are weak, this is what the oscope's telling me. They're going to look up their schematics, they're going to study it, try to figure out what it's doing, and give you a comprehensive review of your component that you sent them. So you can make an educated decision on what you want done with it.
Trucker Bob wants to know where Mike is located.
Where is Mike?
Isn't he somewhere over around Utah or something?
Yeah, he's in Utah, I think. He's far away from me, but I didn't care. That's who I wanted to work on my unit.
Well, Birdman said he can pull the amp out of the cab, no problem.
Yeah, that's what he told me to do with this Black Star. He said just pull. He said pull it out of the cabinet. He goes, all I need is the chassis. I don't need the speaker. Don't need the cabinet. Just send me the chassis. He said that'll save you 50% on the shipping and be half the price. I just haven't done it. Mike said that he would work on it. It's a $1,000 Black Star amp, but it's got SMDs in it, and nobody near me will touch this amplifier because of the SMDs. It's gotten to that point. Fender has a $1,500 to $2,000 tube amplifier that you can buy. The problem is it's not post-to-post wiring. It's on a printed circuit board, and there's SMDs on it. Yeah, it's tube, but it's really hard to work on. When you move up to Bad Cat and some of these hand-wired amps, they're post-to-post wired. Not all of them. Some of them still use printed circuit boards. But you'll notice the post-to-post wired amps are extremely expensive. You're going to spend more money up front, but when that guitar amp needs to be serviced, the tech can open it up and they can see what's going on with it. It's much more user-friendly as far as being serviceable. And it's going to last so much longer. The issue with these printed circuit board, they put the socket right on it, and the board's here, and they put the tube right in it. And all the heat of that tube just cooks that socket and cooks the PC board. Marshall had all kinds of problems with their first PC board amps because it was just cooking the boards. I don't get it. You make a steel plate, put your sockets in your steel plate, put your printed circuit board up here, and run jumper wires from your steel plate over to the printed circuit board. Keep the heat away from it. That costs too much money. It's about saving every possible penny you can save in building that product. That's why they do it. I hate to say it, but if you can buy an older amp that's post-to-post wiring, it's hand-wired, when something goes wrong with it, you can get it fixed. People will look at it. This SMD stuff, it's in a completely different. You have to have a lot of specialized components, specialized. You got magnifying glass to see what you're doing. You got to wick the solder off. It really takes the average worker out of the equation, where you have to be top of your game to work on it and diagnose it properly and service it. There really is that much difference in it. That stuff really isn't designed to be fixed. It's designed to fail and you buy a new one.
Steve says, I am fairly sure the issue isn't with any of the SMDs in that amp. There are 4 MOSFETs that are not heat sinked and usually get hot and blow. Pretty common with Black Star. It's a stupid issue.
Yeah. I did electronics work back when VCRs were around. I used to get free VCRs because they wouldn't pull the tape, take them apart, put the new belts on them, clean up the motors, and I'd sell them for 30, 40 bucks. I got it for free, put a $2 belt in it, little TV tuner cleaner, give them a spritzing. I'd have 20, 30 minutes of service time in it. I did that a lot. I also serviced, I guess they're step-down voltage transformers from Motorola. Used to get those a lot of time from old businesses and then convert them over for 12-volt power supplies. Made a bunch of those. I just got out of it years ago because I didn't have any formal training. So as people started bringing me more complex stuff, and I remember almost killing myself with this TV. It was unplugged, but no one ever told me the picture tube stored electricity. And buddy, that thing lit me up like like a Christmas tree. And after that, I was kind of like, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. Exact same thing with a tube amp. Those big capacitors in there store a lot of power at very high voltage. And a capacitor can dump its load like that. That's why a lot of solar farms use batteries and capacitor banks to offset what the batteries can't push out quick. A picture tube will store a lot of current. I found out really quick when it launched me across the room. So that was my key that maybe I shouldn't do this for, or just go back to working on VCRs. So I didn't work on TVs, but no, there are no more picture tube TVs. Everything now is LCD. I don't know what the voltage is on that kind of stuff. I don't work on that. I don't do that kind of stuff anymore. That's why people go, well, you do this and this and this. My weak point is electronics. It truly is. My strong point is woodworking, guitar finishing, stuff like that. I'm not saying I'm a bad guitar tech on pickups and stuff like that, but I'm far better at doing touch-up work, refinish work, crowning frets, leveling frets, diagnosing tremolos, stuff like that. I would say electronics work is under my finishing work or leveling work, however you want to. But I consider myself a decent tech, if that makes sense. But I would not take in a guitar amp. Linnell has a 60s Vibro Champ down in the basement. It doesn't work. It's in really bad shape. The cabinet, it was in a flood. The cabinet's all swollen. And it's been down there for years. I really need to take it out of the carcass. I have access to a full wood shop. I could easily take that amp into the wood shop. I could recreate the carcass box to a T. We've got reclaimed pine, that's 200 years old that come out of factories in New York City. I could very easily build a far superior, old pine. There's a big difference between the new pine and the old pine. Reclaimed pine, I could build a new box. Fix the amp, I just haven't done it. I got to buy tubes. I got to look at it, try to troubleshoot it. I'm sure I could do it. I just haven't. That's not my thing. I thought about, again, pulling the chassis and sending it to Mike and say, Mike, please restore this Vibro Champ. When I get it back and it's all cleaned up and pretty, then I can build a new box for it, get a new speaker for it, and have an original vibro champ from the 60s. I just haven't done it. And that's what I should do. I should box up the metal part, put it in a box, and send it to Mike. Say, Mike, I don't care if it takes you a year. Whenever you got spare time, just restore it to the best of your ability. I don't care. Give him a budget. Say, let him look at it and say, is it worth fixing? Which I'm sure it is. Say, okay, Mike, you've got X dollars. Do the best you can with it for 4, 5, 6. I don't know what those things are probably worth at least $1,500, $1,600 now, I'm guessing, for an original one. Cap it off, see what he can do with it. And then when I get it back, I could rebuild the carcass and put new Tolex on it. I just haven't done it. I just haven't. I got so many projects. We're getting there. With Brian's guitar gone, there's only 3 guitars left in the basement, unless something shows up. Jupe has a guitar here. There's one other guitar here, and then there's the Firefly that we need to fix the tremolo on. That's it. And I'm technically caught up. And I have been working every night. You can ask Linnell. I work all day. I come home. I'm either recording video, working on people's guitars, or editing video for YouTube, or I'm doing a live stream. All I do is this and my full-time job. It takes every spare second of my life doing what I do. And I enjoy it. I don't like editing too much on the videos, but if I'm downstairs leveling frets and reshaping guitar necks and doing stuff like that, to me that's like a game. I get so much joy out of taking something that might not be quite right and just trying to make it as good as I can possibly make what's in front of me, if that makes sense. I consider it a challenge. Okay, this is what's wrong with it. I need to make sure that I do the best job I possibly can with this budget, and that's what I enjoy. 'Cause I know what it feels like when I start, and then when it's all back together, I'm like, wow, it went from this, feeling the gritty on the back and not holding tune, to just being able to feel like a $2,000 guitar.
Cole has to go.
Okay, Cole, thank you so much for coming into the stream. When I do that to a guitar and I get a good product and it's and when I'm done with it, I play it, I'm like, this guitar is great. When I put that in the box and I send it, I can't wait for the person to receive it and say, oh my gosh, I love it.
Mini Guitar Society said, I'll edit your stuff if you want to challenge yourself to set up some minis.
I like mini guitars. Ask Linnell. If you're up to doing some edit work, I'll shoot you some content. We can give you a shot, Mini Guitar Society, because we are looking for someone that'll do some edit work. You guys know how I do things. We record with 3 cameras, and you have to sync those cameras. And that I am not using SMPTE code, Mini Guitar Society. I am using GoPros, and there is no such thing as SMPTE code on a GoPro. You've got to keep them in sync, or you end up, it sounds like reverb and all kinds of weird stuff starts going on. And your computer really, it's taxing. When you have 3 video streams playing simultaneously, because they all have to play and they're on layers. So it gets complicated. Could I do a simpler job? I certainly could. I could just do one shot all the way through with no fades, no volume corrections, no color corrections. All these little things like zooming in, zooming out, all the little tech notes that I put up, I could do all that. But I think that's a disservice. I want to try to make the best video that I can. So if it takes me a little longer, it takes me a little longer. That's just me. I've always tried to do the best I could with the equipment I've had. If you go back and watch my first video, it was done with a cell phone. and you can tell it's grainy. That when it fades out, goes black, and then the new picture comes up. Now I fade right into the other scene, so it fades, and the layer underneath it fades into that. There is no dead spot. I learned, and I learned by accident. In the editing software, I didn't do something right, and it faded like that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? That was so cool. It was an accident. But I learned from it. I learned from my accident. Exact same thing, splitting the audio from the video. There's a lot of advantages of splitting your audio and video tracks. It becomes more taxing on the computer, though. So we were talking on Discord the other night about some things I need to do, but it becomes down to just budget, guys. The moderators, there's certain people who have access to the channel. On a good month, this channel only sees $150 to $250 a month. And that's with your old super chats. That's all we see. And we rotate at least $200 a month over in product. So there's not much fat on the bone to update. And I have not ordered the new board because it's wintertime here and our electric bills went up. It's life. It's what it is. But the channel has done so well with what I have, it's not like the world is going to end if I don't make these corrections. You guys are here because of the content, and hopefully you get what we're trying to do. So me not updating my camera next month or my board, I don't think I'm going to lose a subscriber. But it will make the channel better as it grows. This channel's only been around for 3 years, a little over 3 years. So it's still in its infancy, if that makes sense. It's going to get better. And the more participation we get from you guys, the better it'll be. You know, I would have never come on 2 years ago and had this Chibson conversation that we had tonight. I wouldn't have done that. I would have always felt like I was going to step on someone's toes. But now I kind of feel that we've got a community, and everyone in the community is mature enough to have an adult conversation about it. And we're not saying anyone's right or anyone's wrong. It's a conversation about it, and everyone gets to speak their piece.
Mini Guitar Society says content, community, consistency.
Yeah, that's what it's about. And I know it's Thursday night guitar reviews. We're not reviewing a guitar. It's hard, guys. It's hard to do. We've done a lot of guitar reviews actually in the last 6 months. They've been a lot of live reviews. And I like reviewing guitars. Right now, the market's not too good on the used side. So I'm kind of hesitant on bringing in too many $500, $600, $700 guitars and trying to roll them over. So it will come around. We've got a nice little thing with Shenandoah Music, and they're going to allow us to review a Gretsch when they get the next Gretsch in. So I'm going to continue to work with those guys, and that's taking some of the burden off the channel. But it becomes their discrepancy, if that makes sense. As long as I can show worth to them and so forth, it's a good working relationship, if that makes sense.
Trucker Bob wants to know if you refuse to work on Chibsons.
I don't refuse to work on Chibson. I may have worked on a Chibson. Some of them they claim are just like Gibsons. So maybe at some point in the past I had a Chibson in here and didn't even realize it. I'm not that way. At that point the product's already here. You know, refusing to work on it isn't gonna do anything, if that makes sense. It's just gonna upset somebody, if that makes sense. I don't want anyone to think that I'm being harsh. I do feel strongly about companies using someone else's product name, if that makes sense. And me personally, I just don't want to support them, if that makes sense. That's just me. But I get it. If you only have $200 and it's a Gibson and that's what you can afford, okay. My suggestion is strongly consider a Gretsch or something else for $50 more. That's my only suggestion. That doesn't mean you have to do it. Or buy used. Right now, it's kind of crazy. You can get a really nice used guitar for a good price right now. You really can. And don't get on Reverb. Just because they're asking something for it doesn't mean that's what they're getting. Reverb has a thing where you can pull up what it's been selling for. Look at what the product's been selling for. If they're out in left field, don't even send them an email saying, I'll offer you this. You'll know a good deal when you get one. Reverb used to be like eBay. But now Reverb and eBay, there's no good deals on there. Go to your local music stores, your guitar centers, places like that. When that product sits in that store more than 3 months, that's when they discount it. You can find crazy deals at Guitar Center. Get on there used. Sometimes it's crazy deals. That's what I would do. If I was on a budget, I would buy a used Epiphone or a Sire. I played a Sire 7LV. That thing was stupid good, and it was my fault. I went in saying I'm only spending $500. They wanted $550, and they would not budge off that $550 price. I should have bought it. It was a great playing guitar, great sounding P90 Sire Les Paul. Beautiful guitar.
Cheryl has to go.
Okay, Cheryl. Thank you so much for coming into the stream. But that's my point. I was stuck to my guns, though. I should have just paid, it was $50. If someone, I look at it now, it's $50. The guitar was in my hand. I knew it was a good guitar. It played good, it sounded good. That's worth the extra $50. Versus going to Reverb and buying it for $500 and plugging it, this one just doesn't have the feel. That one had the feel. I should have just said, it's $50. Just give them the $50 and take the guitar home. But I didn't do it. I still kicked myself in the butt for it.
Devastator says, Avery, I'm looking for a Mach 6 Schecter and have a whole $5 to spend.
You're going to be looking for a long time. I'd buy 100 of them for that price. They went up again. Everything is going up. So the used market right now, just give them a decent offer. Can you find the stupid low deal, crazy deal? I'm sure they're out there. But you can get a good solid guitar at a very good price used. Especially these RGAs. There are several open box or mint RGAs on Reverb right now from $285 to about $350. That is a stupid deal for that guitar. Stupid deal. I think it's ProStar Audio has one for $399 open box. That's a crazy deal for that guitar. I mean, it's saying it's new. It's just open box. You got a 45-day guarantee window. Send it back. I mean, that's a good deal. I love my RGAs here. They're great guitars. I get on Reverb and I look around. There's a couple amps on Marketplace right now. There's a PV Classic 50 with the 410 combo amp, $300. In the tweed, it's got the yellow tweed cap. It looks nice. The PV logo is still on it, not broken, because most of those are broken. The face on the cabinet looks nice. For $300. That's a stupid deal, because I've been looking for one of those amps for several years, and they always sell above $500 for the Classic 50. I've been looking for either a classic 50 with the 15-inch, or a classic 50 with the dual 12s. Come to think about it, it would be cool to buy the 410 one, because I know I can get the extension cabinet, the 115 extension cabinet. Oh, you take the 115 extension cabinet and put the 410 combo on top. That is the amplifier
What model is the Yamaha amp?
that we got right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a THR 2.
Mr. Fats was asking. He said the Yamaha amp. What model is it? I hear it sounds good.
Yes, it is a great little amplifier. Great little amplifier. Now, what you guys are hearing when I play it, that's coming out of the headphone jack right to the interface. It's a good sounding amp. Now, when you unplug it and you just listen to little tiny speakers, it gets a little thin sounding. But if you've got a stereo and you can come in on an input, just come right out of the headphone jack right into your stereo.
Trucker Bob says, if I have 2 or 3 bad ball-ended frets, can I change only the bad frets without refretting a whole fretboard?
You can. The drawback with the Chinese stuff is it's stainless steel, and you don't know if, like, let's say you buy a Schecter. You can reach out to Schecter, and you can find out if it's a 6105 or whatever that fret wire is, and you can get the exact same fret wire. With the Chinese stuff like Firefly and stuff like that, you got to kind of mic it and mic your height, and then you got to throw a dart, and you got to look at all the fret wire that's out there, and you got to buy something that you feel is the same, and it could be off a little bit. That's the only drawback. But if you can get the right fret wire, it's easy. You know, it's really easy. You look at the offset, because it doesn't go all the way to the fingerboard. Look at the offset, get that length, arc your fret, and then, you know, put it in like you do a regular fret. It's just when you push it in, you got to make sure you push it in right, because you can't chamfer file it. When it's pushed in, the offset left and right have to be right. That's the issue with ball and frets. You look down the fingerboard and they're doing this because they didn't get them pressed in right. You're pre-finishing the end of the fret before you install it. That makes it very, very, very difficult to keep those frets in a line. That's why you don't hear me talk too much about ball and frets anymore. I thought it was cool when it first came out. I'm not a big fan of it anymore. There's too many issues with the ball and frets. They're hard to level and recrown. They're hard to replace, if that makes sense, because of the way they're in the guitar. I'm just not. If you give me 2 guitars that played exactly the same, that I thought were great, one had conventional frets, one had ball and frets, I'm taking the conventional fret guitar every time. And that, nothing against the ball and fret. I think a well-dressed conventional fret, like what I just did to Brian's guitar over here, when Brian gets it, I'm not saying that's my best fret dressing, because I can tell you it's not. I did a basic fret dressing on this guitar, but I did a good basic fret dressing. That feels just as nice as a ball and fret guitar, because I took the time and made sure the dressing was done right. If you get into a really nice high-end dressed in fret, it takes more time. The ball and fret is pre-finished, you know, it's fast and easy. The drawback is they don't always align going down the neck. That's the drawback to it. But it is a very smooth end. It's hard to work on. But if you can get the right fret wire, that's the thing, Trucker Bob, getting the exact same fret wire. If it's not the same fret wire, one, it may look a little different, and it's not just the size, but it's the material makeup of the fret wire. Because if it's a different grade of stainless steel, when it's polished, it's not going to have the same sheen. So you might have a couple shiny ones, and then a dull one. The one you replace might not shine up the same because it's a cheaper grade stainless. Or it's a higher grade stainless, and now that one really shines up, and all the original frets look dull compared to your new upgraded fret. That's your. It's like Ascar. Everyone likes that fret material. Well, if you know the manufacturer of the fret material, you can just pull that one fret and you can contact that manufacturer and you can get that fret wire. So just keep that in mind. I was gonna. Oh, yeah. Show you guys. So looking at like the RGAs on the factory, the way it's chamfered, see how it goes all the way out to the end? So since this is Ibanez, I'm sure that I could reach out to Ibanez. I'm not saying they were going to get an answer overnight, but I can gauge this fret, the width and the height, and I can reach out to them. I'm pretty sure I can get a fret wire number from Ibanez. Might even be able to, if court makes it, get more information on it, and I'm pretty sure that I could get the same fret wire on it. The problem with IYV and all these other companies, you're going to reach out, you're not going to get a response. Ibanez is a big company. There's a lot of people that work on these guitars, whether it's Sweetwater or whatever. Someone's going to be able to help you out with a name brand to know what you're doing when replacing one. What I would do is measure the height, measure the width, and then go from there. Look at your gauge. There's a bunch of different ones that tell you, and then put it in there. Then you may have to reshape all your top of your crowns to get them all the same. If that makes sense. We are going to start working on this guitar eventually. I do have the pickups for it, right there, the white box. I always get that backwards. Right there. That white box is the pickups for this guitar. So, ordered some guitar head pickups for it. I have not ordered the bridge yet. We've been a little tight on funds. So, maybe next month I'll get the bridge for it. Once I get that, I'm going to get some tuners. And I'm going to build me a hot rod. I like this one because it's the same color on the back. They do have one that has the flame maple top. That's a black burst, but it's red on the back, and I don't dig the black top with the red side.
Mr. Fats says, question, is it really true an old amp like 30-year-old, over time, it tends to fade away in sound, it loses its tone? Mine is an old Charvel. I think it sounds good for 30 years old.
Well, there's two rules of thumb. Like an old Fender Twin Reverb has a certain sound. Some people claim when you take them in for service and they recap them, they lose the sound. As components age, they go out of value. Sometimes that helps the amp. It gives it a sound. Just like an old Celestion speaker that's just been cranked and cranked and cranked, that's not blown, but it's been used. They get loose, okay, from movement. The spotters become loose. They move more air. They just sound better. They're broken in, okay? Exact same thing can be said with electrolytics. There's a sweet spot. Some people claim they go in, they find these amplifiers that just have this sound, and they measure the electrolytics on how far they're out, and then they take another amp and they change the electrolytics and they use the amp that they like the tone on as a baseline. And they try to emulate what those components tested out at. And they install it in this amp and try to get that same sound. Even though it's out of spec, but all these out of spec components make the amp sound a certain way. Some people claim they're pretty successful at doing it, and they keep a track of what does what in the amp. But people that do that kind of work, like Friedman, Mr. Sedano, those guys were masters. They kind of knew, okay, this electrolytics is testing at this, it's out of spec, but the amp sounds like this. And over years of seeing repeats or this failure or ooh, this amp's got this sound, let's go through and figure out what the electrolytics is telling us, what this stuff is testing at. They start to see a pattern. And that's what you're paying for when these kind of people work on your products. So this amp here is 30 some years old. I love the sound of that. I've never replaced the electrolytics in my ART. I've never replaced the electrolytics in my power amplifier. Just new tubes. It still sounds fine. Give it a good cleaning, you know. Tubes can go out of spec, but buy good tubes. When you're buying tubes, don't let anybody tell you JJs aren't good tubes. If you're on a budget, buy a matched set of JJ tubes for your amplifier. You're going to be golden. JJ makes good tubes. If you want better tubes, put some Mallards on it. But you're going to pay twice as much for those Mallards. Is it going to sound twice as good? Absolutely not. I have JJs in this one, and I have GTs in the ART. 2 GT 12EX7s in that, and 4 JJ 6L6s in this one. I don't know what's in the Egnator. They might be that, I forget the tube that starts with an S, Soldo or whatever it is, that might be what's in the Egnator. I can't remember now. But JJ makes a good tube, and they're reasonably priced. So do that, give it a good cleaning, go through, clean all your pots, but don't worry about it. And if you don't think it sounds bad, don't worry about it. Just leave it be. I've put tubes in this twice, and I wait till the point where it just does not work anymore, then I put tubes on it. Ask Linnell. I thought I was going to have to replace it this time, but put new tubes in it, come right back to life. I've had it for 25 years, so, and I played it pretty hard the first set of tubes. So I don't know, 15 years out of the first set. So that was pretty good. And then this set that just went bad, it was mix match set. I don't know what happened there. I must have lost a tube because 3 of the tubes were one manufacturer. I would have never done that. It must have been during my time where I wasn't playing. I plugged it in and I just bought 1 tube. So it was running probably out of bias and everything else for a long time. So I bought a match set of JJs and put in it. It's fine. The JJ makes a good tube. Tube amps are great. They don't cause that much problem. They really don't. Just make sure the caps don't leak. That's the big thing. A lot of times the older caps will start to leak, and they don't hold their charge, So let a good amp tech go in there, and caps are cheap, guys. They're $1 a piece, $2 a piece. It's more about the labor. Find a guy that will, do good work. That's not going to charge you an arm and leg. Just go through and change the caps in it, and you'll be good for another 30 years. You really will. Made it 10 pass without lag. Don't tell YouTube. Exactly. Don't tell YouTube. All right, I want to plug this guy in. I gotta get my other guitar unplugged. Let me unplug the other guitar. Oh. I do like the plug-in on the Jem. I think that's pretty cool how the Jem plugs in. I know some people were saying they didn't kind of like the jack going in on an angle like that. But with me and my wireless system and the strap, I can see where that would be a plus, just for me. So I forget who was talking about the Yamaha. thoughts on the new hypersonic amp. I think it's way overpriced for solid state. That's just my opinion. Um, I think there's far better amps out there at that price point. Um, before I paid that for that, I would just buy the tube version. I don't think there's that much difference in price between the Iconic. I think it's the 5150 Iconic and the Hypersonic. I would definitely go with the tube version before the solid state one. That's just me. It's probably a fine amp. I don't have. That's just me. Without plugging into it, I just feel if you can get the tube version for $100 more, I would go with the tube version. But I get why people would go with the solid state one. I think it has a direct out to go directly to the interface and some other things. Um, I just think it's a bit too expensive for what the amp is. I think there's better choices out there at that price point, if that makes sense. I would look at the, what is it, Laney? I think the Laney would be better choice if you're spending that kind of money. If you're going solid state, I think the Laney would be a good choice for you. At that price point, I hate to say it, a Line 6 Stadium. I want to say that amplifier, that hypersonic, I want to say it's $1,600. Let me, let's find out here. Let's look up what the hypersonic cost. So the Iconic is 1,000. What I'm seeing at Sweetwater. I thought the Hypersonic 12 1,000 watt, they're saying it's $700. I thought it was more than that. Maybe I'm not seeing it right. All right, the EVH Eddie Van Halen 5153 Hypersonic FR12 guitar combo, $699. And the Iconic series with the EL34 is $679. The 40, the Iconic series 40 watt 112 tube combo is 1,000. So I'm not quite getting EVH's product here. I'm not quite understanding what they're doing here. Am I looking at the wrong product? Let me share my screen. Hold on. As soon as I get back to OBS. So here's the shared screen. So the Hypersonic, 1,000 watt powered. I don't think that's the right product. I think it's this one, the Hypersonic 6L6. I'm not sure. You got to throw me a bone. Tell me which one that was. I know they just come out with the new one. It was solid state, and I thought it was $1,500. I'm just not. I'm seeing one for $700. Am I misseeing that, or?
This says, someone commented, CG says Hypersonic FR 699 amp is like $16.99.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pricey. At $16.99, I can get the Line 6 Stadium.
Okay, so the 6L6 is the $16.99 one.
Yeah.
The Hypersonic is solid state.
So the original one was So they make a hypersonic tube version and a hypersonic solid state version. That makes no sense. I thought all the hypersonics were. So they're using a solid state preamplifier with a 6L6 power amplifier? Why they call it the 6L6 when it. Yeah, that's what's confusing me, Blue Mox.
He says the other one you see is speakers only.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's way too much money. Before I spent that, I would definitely get a stadium. There's so many different sounds, and you're gonna get a model of that EVH amplifier in the stadium, and just plug it into any FRFR cabinet or any powered PA speaker. Be done with it. You're done. Period. As much as I like tube amplifiers, I get it. Like this little Yamaha amp. It's $350. It's not tube, but it kicks butt for what I'm using it for. So before I spent $1,700 on that EVH, I would just get the Line 6 and get a powered PA speaker. Don't fall for that FRFR stuff. You get a nice EV powered speaker, $350, and play through it. It's a PA driver. It's full range. You're going to be fine. Trust me. It'll be fine. When I'm doing my modeling, I'm going through 2 Wolfdale Pro array drivers. They're not guitar cabinets. It's a process signal. I just need an amplifier. So it comes out of that to a crown amplifier to these 2 Wolfdale array drivers.
Birdman says for Saturday's show you should exercise that Friedman.
Which Friedman? The rack mount Friedman or the little baby Friedman?
I think the little baby.
We can't see the baby Friedman. Hold on. We got to show off the baby Friedman.
He said you need to give it a good break in.
There's the baby Friedman. We gave it a pretty good break in the other night. That's my little baby Friedman, and that SR cabinet has 2 Celestion V30s in it. The cabinet to the right is my PV Penta cabinet. It has 4 Celestion Penta drivers in it. That's a cool little amplifier, guys. For $99, I got that on sale when Sweetwater was blowing them out for $99. I mean, how could you go wrong? I mean, I know it's just half a Friedman pedal and a Class D amplifier in there, little solid state amplifier or whatever they want. Some people claim it's digital, solid state. Class D is a unique amplifier, but that's what's in there. For $99 all day long, I'll do that amplifier. There's no effects, so you'll see I've got a little my Line 6 stomp right here, and I've got my Line 6 Pod Express on the other side. Gives you some effects. Run it into that cabinet there, and it rock and rolls. That's not tube.
Okay, so do you notice amps made from wood like pine or birch sound better than the low-end amps made of particle board? Mr. Fats said he was shopping for amps and noticed the more expensive amps used wood.
Well, there's two. I think pine has a unique sound, okay? But in cabinet design, the denser the wood, usually the better the cabinet. But the design has a lot to do with it. The shape of the cabinet, the way it's baffled, it has a lot to do with it. MDF is very dense. It's not a very good product because it's paper, sawdust, all glued and pressed together. But it's extremely dense. That's why a lot of subwoofers use MDF as a cabinet. When it comes to these drivers, this cabinet here is almost 40 years old. It's made out of marine plywood. It sounds fine. This SWR cabinet is part MDF and part pine. It's a little bit of mixed. I'm not too sure what this PV Penta. I had it open at one time. I don't remember what it was made out of. I had a Fender twin reverb. It had a pine cabinet, great sounding. It comes down to what you hear, if that makes sense. I think pine has a unique resonance to it. The old Fender Telecasters that were made out of hard pine, those guitars just sound good. Now, pine's a real soft material. It dents, really easy. It's not going to take a lot of abuse. It'll split and crack and check because it's a lightweight wood. But it has the old growth pine. It has something to it. Now, new pine isn't the same. It really isn't. Past, I would say, the 70s, pine kind of made a change. You can tell in the growth rings. The growth rings are a lot further apart in the newer stuff. The older growth pine, it was great that they made the old Fender Tellies out of. You can hear it. It's quackier, but it's also warmer all at the same time. It's weird. I think there is something to, what they say, tone wood. There's something to it. There is. How much is it? How much does it change? I don't know, guys. Same with cabinets. If I plugged them, A-B'd them, could I tell the difference? Probably. But if I plugged into the pine cabinet today, and then a week later I plugged into the one that was made out of MDF, could I hear the difference? I don't know. I might be able to hear it side by side, A-B'ing them, but would I tell a difference in a mix? If I recorded it, could I tell the difference between the one made out of hard pine and the one made out of MDF? I don't know. I'm still struggling with that. I know for a long time I didn't like solid state, all without tube. I thought they lacked something. And I got a little Black Star Core 10 version 3, and I got it at Guitar Center. I was up in Ohio running a CNC machine. Well, I guess it was 3 years ago. They had me come up and run some product for them. They couldn't do the coding, so I went up and coded it and ran the machine. I went to Guitar Center, and they had a Dean MD-24. And he got it down, he plugged me into this little Black Star amp. And I said, dude, you're not really going to plug me into that little crappy amp, are you? He goes, just play it, you might like it. And after I played it, I ended up going back the next time I went to Ohio and I bought the amplifier because I thought it was the first one that didn't sound awful. This Yamaha sounds 500% better than that little Core 10 Black Star. It doesn't sound like that, but I don't feel disconnected when I'm playing. I feel connected. Oh, I can't move that out of the way. I feel connected to the amplifier. I don't want to say lag. Sometimes you can hear it, it sounds good, but you just don't feel it. Even though your fingers don't have ears, it's like it's not moving you to play. This little Yamaha moves me to play. It's not the same as tube, but I'm not going to say that I dislike it. There's things that I like about this sound that I actually like more than the tube. But there's a warmth the tube has, if that makes sense. I like both. And this is the first amplifier that I've personally owned that does not have tubes in it that I like. And I only like it coming out of the headphone jack into the PA. I think it kind of falls apart when you plug it and you run the little speakers that are in it. The speakers are just too small. But when you come out of the headphone jack and you put it onto a real power amplifier and two real speakers, two real PA speakers, it just comes to life. And then there's a whole crowd that goes, well, it's not a guitar speaker, so it's not going to sound right. You got to have a guitar speaker. Well, when I go to a concert and they're miking those cabinets, I'm not hearing that cabinet. I'm hearing the PA system. That's what I'm hearing. Those aren't guitar speakers. I'm hearing the PA. So that PA speaker is emulating whatever I put into it. That's the exact same thing I'm doing here. I'm coming out of the headphone jacks. All I need is that signal to be amplified correctly. And that's what the mixing board and the two PA speakers. So if you've got a small mixing board or anything like that, this little amplifier right into it, go. It's the cheapest solution that I know of. I do want to get a Vailton. I want to get a GP50, maybe a GP200. I hear they're great. Again, there's no speakers, so you have to have either a powered PA speaker or a mixing board, something that you can run that into that's going to have some drivers. I just think if you're trying to do something on a budget, it's the most budget-friendly way of doing it. Especially if you're doing like a small studio. Because you're going to need a small board, you're going to need two PA speakers or control room monitors, something. Why not just come right out of like one of these little amps, right into that board, into your control room monitors. You don't really need the amplifier anymore, especially doing what we're doing. You know, bedroom guitar playing, or in my case, living room guitar playing. I don't need that 4-speaker cabinet right there and 50 watts per side. I don't need it. You know, I like the sound of it, but this little guy, if that blows up tomorrow, I would have no problems playing this little Yamaha. I wouldn't. I'm content with it. I can turn up this PA and make it just as freaking loud as that and piss off my neighbors just as bad as I can piss them off with this one. Maybe more so, because this is only 50 watts a side, which gives me 100 watts. Well, I've got, I think, 600 watts on the power amp, and these Wolfdales are capable of definitely doing 600 watts. So I know this Yamaha would be louder the way I have it set up than that system. I mean, I can make it, you can ask Linnell, I can make it ear-deafening loud in this house at really a third volume. You can't stand to be in the living room at a third. Now, I would never put this amplifier at 50% in this house. I can barely stand it at 1/3. It's that loud. It is loud, loud. You know, I think we're really to the point. That's why he was talking about that hypersonic. Just look at it. Whether you go quad, if you go quad Cortex, that's like $700. So get yourself a quad Cortex and get you two of the Mackie powered PA speakers. They're $350 a piece. That's $700. The quad Cortex is going to be $750. You're at $1,500 and you've got a stereo rig that's going to be unbelievably freaking loud. That's all you need. You don't even really need a mixing board because your volume is on the back of the powered monitors. You can use the input for what you're doing. It's not the perfect scenario, but you could do it. And that's going to be nice. It's going to sound good. See, I got the volume cut back, and it acts. It actually acts like a tube amp. It loses its grunt. You cut it back a little bit. It just changes. You roll it back. That's a really high, stupid high gain channel.
Devastator says we need to see 119 dB on the decibel meter.
Well, the amp's not in the room. If I take these off, I can't hear the guitar. There is no amp signal in the room. Watch. That's how loud my house is. 46 dB. Now watch when I'm not going to talk, I'm just going to play the guitar. So it's picking up me hitting the string. There is no signal in the room. It just works. Because if there was a signal in the room, this microphone that's way over here in China, it would be picking it up. So in what I'm doing here, this is perfect. And when I do run this amp, I no longer run the cabinet. I run it into my little DI box. Steve sent me some cab sims. I'm running a 4 Celestian Greenback sim that he sent. Sent me a link to it. Downloaded it to it. Instantly fixed it. I wasn't too happy with the ones that were in the pedal, so he sent me a link. I downloaded it. The last time we played this amplifier, I was using that IR. Sounds fine. I did change the EQ just a little bit, but I'm happy with it. It just works. Even when I'm here at the house after that stream, I did not plug into my power amp. I just let it run into the PA system and played through the PA system. I guess I'm changing, and there's nothing wrong with changing, guys. That's the whole point. And you know, if we always like the same thing, then it would get kind of boring. Right now, I'm really enjoying these RGAs for the price point and what you get. I think these are great playing guitars. I get a lot of enjoyment out of these guitars. It doesn't matter what it costs. It matters that I get enjoyment out of it. I think it sounds good. It feels right under my fingers. I would pay twice the asking price for this guitar. Personally, I would. Because it fits me. That doesn't mean that it's going to fit somebody else. If you find that, then you go with it. Just like I found this is Linnell's amplifier. But it works. You know, it works for what, I'm not going to fight it. I can sit here and say, oh, this is better, it's better. It's better in ways, sure. It better be. I can buy 30 of these little Yamaha amplifiers for what I have in this amp. This thing's just stupid expensive.
Trucker Bob says the Quad Cortex is $1,750. He said, bro, you missed it by 1,000.
Oh,
well.
Maybe it's the Nano Cortex.
And then Steve said maybe he meant the Nano.
Yeah, I think it's the Nano Cortex. Get a Nano. But I think the Stadium is probably the way to go. It's Line 6 at Yamaha, exact same company. They just got it. If you think that this isn't line 6, you're wrong. This is a Yamaha modeling amp. Yamaha's not going to do anything that line 6 does. They're sharing architecture. They've just simplified it and put knobs on it. For what I'm doing, I can just reach over and change a knob. Let me switch camera angles here. So you can see my guitar is going into the tuner, out of the tuner, into the amp. And right here, there's our headphone jack. Okay, that is a stereo splitter. Right there. See my two? And that goes over to the board. So I can go right up to it, take the gain out. If I want to, let's say I want to really boost the mids, I just go over and turn up a knob. If you're one of those guys that you like to cut your mids, like some of the modern sound, here's a mid cut. Put your mid back to 50. Just turn the bass up. That's what I like about it. I don't have to have a computer screen. Now you can do more on the computer, but I can go right up to it and just make a change. If I want to, let's say I want to change effects. Take some of the effect out. Let's just do reverb. Let's go down to crunch and do something weird. Oop, wrong tuning. Sorry. listening in stereo, you should hear it bouncing. But it's so easy just to go up and make a change. We just want to do echo. Old school effects like a tremolo. That's probably a little too much. Let's take some of the tremolo out. It's so easy just to go up and make a change. If we keep it to that and we go up to like echo reverb. I'm sorry, for $350, that's a heck of a little amp. It does so much, and it's just literally, you want to take some distortion out, just turn the gain down. Now let's turn our master up. More gain. So that's a tremolo. We also have a phaser. Take some of that out. That's a phaser. Here's a flanger. And then my favorite effect chorus. Down to clean. Need a tune. See how far out we are? A lot.
That little Yamaha amp comes like 3 versions, so there are options on a budget for this amp.
Yes. We did not get the one with the battery. The one with the battery has an effects loop. This one I think is the best bang for the buck. This one does not have the battery. But, I mean, I get it. If you want to get the one with the battery and you just want to charge it up, take it to the park and play, I mean, it's definitely a cool little amplifier.
It's 11 o'clock, right?
What's that?
You do know it's 11 o'clock.
Oh, we're streaming late tonight, guys. So here's the clean sound. That's got a good sound. Like I said, for $350, guys, it blows my mind for what it does. Like I said, for what I'm doing, the controls are up here. If you have a computer, you can go into it. You can change your cabinet. It has a bunch of different cabinets, some different gain settings. There's a little bit more versatility. Like up here, you can go into like it's just the amount of haul. On the computer, you can change the milliseconds, the delay time, so many other things that you can do. But it doesn't fall short up here. You can go do a quick on-the-fly adjustment. You don't need the computer to make it work. That's what I find that I like about it. It's more about price point. If you've got a small system to plug it into, I think it's a great way. If you're going to put this on your desktop, is it horrible? No. But it does have 2 very small speakers in it. So I do recommend coming out of the headphone jack to some other type of amplification to get your volume up and get a bigger sound out of it. Okay. I know it's late, guys. We're streaming late. We are going to call it quits. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the show tonight. I know we started out just going over, kind of ranting on Chibson, but that's okay. We did get to look at Brian's guitar. Like I said, it's going to be here a couple more days before I send it to him. I want to make sure that it's right. And I want to thank everyone that's hung out for this long of a stream. We've been on for 3 hours and 5 minutes. It means a lot to me, guys, when you guys kind of come and just hang out. I don't know about you all. I work, well, I'm sure everyone works hard. I work hard. So even when I'm tired, when I think about doing the stream and coming on here, it's like I get this boost of energy. And it's just cool to come out and hang out. I think we had a really cool stream tonight. At least I feel that it was an engaging stream. That's what I like. If I see a lot of
You
comments
need
and
to
you
flip your
guys are,
camera.
oh, wrong camera, that's awful. See, if you guys are engaging with me, and I see that you guys are passionate about something, it just makes me, whether it was the Chibson comment or the amplifier comment or the work that was done to search and return Brian's Gibson, not Gibson, isn't that awful? Jim, all that. It just, coming in here and talking to you guys just gives me, I don't know, it's like a boost, adrenaline boost. It's like when I go to the music store on Saturday, I pull up, I'm like, toy store, yeah, I feel the same way. It doesn't matter how exhausted I am when I get home from work. I look forward to getting with you guys and getting on here and hanging out. I couldn't do it without you guys, and I want everyone to say thank you to the moderators of the show. If you notice, we don't have a lot of moderators. It's not that I don't like everybody. It's just I like keeping the moderators down. We do have 2 that aren't in the group tonight, and that's fine. But we have selected people that I feel kind of talk to one another, and they make sure the chat's going good. So thank them. They do a lot of stuff on the back end, especially Devastator. Devastator runs our Discord server. He is the big cheese there. So everything runs through Mr. Devastator. If it's going on Discord, he's the head cook and the bottle washer at Discord. So all checks and balances go through Devastator there. Without you guys helping, the Blue Wrench people, Devastator, it's not possible. The stream and the community is not possible without you guys, the viewers. Okay? I think as a group, I think we've really got something cool. And like I said, I like getting on here and chatting with you guys. But go to Discord, continue the conversation, and I guess I'll see you guys on Saturday night. I don't have a video ready for tomorrow night, so I am posting, it's either going to be the jet video on the work that I did on the jet for Time Surfing Alien, or the second video on the gym. I don't know which one's going to come out, which one first. But we're definitely doing a live stream on Saturday night. So again, thanks everyone. And if you haven't already, please go down, hit the like button, and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel. Even though I forgot to switch it, we're on our way to 2,500. So that's our next goal. I will fix it for our next stream. Thanks to everyone that has hit the button. It means a lot. It tells me that I'm doing something right. The channel's still growing. All right, guys, we're going to do our 5-minute ending window, and I guess I'll see you guys this coming Saturday.